I hope you're all well. Welcome back to my channel, my corporate journey, our corporate journey, I hope. And yes, I was on Facebook a few minutes ago to encourage everyone to come through here so that we can try and unpack the two ports retirement system. And yeah, welcome on this beautiful Saturday, the 17th of August 2024. I just want to make sure I've got the date right. And if you are new here, this should be your home. This should be one of the channels that are on your top radar. And it is my corporate journey. We discuss financial affairs. We also discuss matters of travel. And also, we talk about work life. What happens when you work? What you should be doing to climb the ladder? How to spot promotions, yes, the frustrations that we come across while working. There's a lot of content. So, yeah, this channel is based on those three pillars: personal finance, travel, and career. So welcome, and thank you for liking, guys. I truly appreciate it. And the request came through. So I've spent a few minutes rushing and trying to find a name. Hi, Bonsile Suri, you are here now, and I truly appreciate it, sweetheart. I was trying to find a name of one of my kids who requested this live, who asked that in fact, they asked that I invite someone to come and shed some light in terms of Itu Port's retirement system. But I thought, no, it doesn't even need that. And after all, it will take me a while to just get someone. And obviously, guys, when you try and collaborate, some people have terms and conditions. So I thought, let me just do research and come here and sit with you. And guys, if you know more, if you are able to share, if you are a financial advisor certified with a license, please do share the information. And a lot of people will truly benefit by leaving your comment on your comment system or comment section rather. Zandile, glad to find you live, mommy. Same here, Sissy, glad that you joined me live. Spooky, hi Siri, Veliswa, moms. Thank you, moms. And yeah, so this was requested. So if you are new, welcome. Yeah, feel at home. And if you've always been here, you're an OG. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. Thank you for watching the ads, for sharing. Guys, it doesn't go unnoticed. This is not a huge channel, but I am blessed with the love that I received thus far. Your comments, your likes, your sharing, your interacting, when you subscribe, it just warms my heart. So I want to start off by saying thank you. So let's get let's cut the chase and get to the business of today. Welcome everyone. Glenda, I see you, I love you. So I want to start off by saying yesterday, without promoting, they didn't sponsor this live. I'm a reader. My daughter, at one stage, she was a bookworm. Social media came about. She still reads, but not as crazy as she used to. And she's got a book cabinet, with all her books packed and crazy. So yesterday we decided I want to go back into reading more. I do read, but I've been also taking my time, but I want to try and read a book every single day. And I'm a person who reads business books mostly, non-fiction books, and we all different. Read what you need to read, improve that vocab, do what's right. But the reason why I'm showing you this, and I did say they didn't sponsor this video, is because yesterday we went here to buy our books, and I bought, I'm gonna share with you. And books are expensive, but there's no cheap knowledge. Cheap knowledge will cost you later in life. So just give me a few minutes, guys, to get rid of this. I want to, few minutes. Okay. We've gotten rid of the bad apple, a rotten apple. So I think we can carry on with life. Because rotten apples just wait for you, or worms rather, to start, yeah, plowing, and they came through. I suggested this book to someone one day who wanted to buy a book for a manager. Yeah, okay, the manager was leaving. I'm trying to think. Yes, someone senior. And I said, please get this book. I don't believe in suggesting books and not reading them myself. So it is South African CEOs. I love books that are mostly South Africans. Not to say I don't read books from abroad. So I would love to read this. And then I got this book. And guys, if you can get this book, someone who's doing so well in life has bought this book, said they changed their life by reading this book. I have no idea what it's all about. I'm still gonna read it. I will teach you to be rich. So one of those, yeah. And then this is where I'm heading to. Ungongo bought this book, The Ultimate Guide to Retire in South Africa. And when my daughter held this book, let's see, 360 hair ones. Mine, this one is 485. I will teach you how to get rich. I want to see what will be in this book, and this one is 300 rands, the CEO X Factor. So I want to talk about this. When there's a guy, an elderly guy, I think that guy is in his 60s. When he saw Ungongo holding this book, he was shocked and stunned. Ukuthi, you are so young. In fact, he said retirement already. And he couldn't believe his eyes. Ukuthi, a young soul like Ungongo would really go for this book. And she only bought this one, which I was surprised because normally she go for 4 or 5 books. The Ultimate Guide to Retirement in South Africa. And I said to that guy, because I was just confused. He came from the back. So I was shocked. How did he even see a I thought I did report this person, guys. Did I not get it right? The one that's busy causing havoc. I think now I've reported he's gone. And this guy was shocked and to say, why are you looking at retirement? You're so young. And guys, to be honest, you need to encourage your children if you've already passed that stage, or you need to encourage yourself if you're still young to read books about retirement. You need to start as early as possible. I encourage my kids to start looking into their retirement as soon as possible. And before we get into the nitty-gritties, often you'll hear younger people saying, what's the point of worrying about retirement? What if you die young? Why, guys, you never say, what's the point of going to school? What if I'll die when I'm in grade 7? What if I'll die when I'm in grade 10? Why you never say, what's the point of buying the car? What if I won't get to drive it? I'm gonna die before I even smell the fresh leather seats of a new car. But when it comes to retirement, people will make comments such as, what's the point of worrying about your retirement? If what happens if you die when you are 30? What happens if you die in your 20s or 40s? What happens if you die before you reach retirement? But you guys do get married, you give birth, and you don't worry about, why am I falling pregnant? What if I die when my child is 6 months? It is such a negative a mindset, and it's a sad one when I listen to someone saying that. And it's the same thing that people use when they misuse their money, when they get into debt, when they just go and look for trouble unnecessarily. Why should I worry about tomorrow? Let's eat and be merry. Guys, the reality is, someone once said, when you are poor, you tend to live longer. There's no study on that. I'm not gonna say or emphasize on that point. But what happens if you live longer and you never planned for your retirement because you thought you're gonna go very soon. And how can you live your life thinking you're not gonna do things? And in most cases, it's only retirement, and yet other things you do. You go and party. You never say, what happens if I leave this home and I get hijacked and I'm unalive? But when it comes to retirement, the stories, what I want to urge you to do is to get any book that speaks about retirement. Sit down, go on YouTube, listen to people who speaks about retirement as early as possible. Start as soon as possible. You do not want to be part of the stats of people that retire uncomfortably. Only 6% South Africans retire comfortably. Only 6%, because the rest are saying, I'm chowing my money, I'm getting the Gucci bag, I'm driving the most expensive car that I don't even afford, I'm living way above my means, because what if I die? And you might, and you will live until retirement. Then the Pope Sultans. Hi, Shabalala. So that's what I wanted to clear. And that guy, we had a long conversation where you could tell that he didn't make plans for his retirement, because then he was making excuses. When I said the sooner the better, I said, no, it's never too late, even Madiba. And guys, let's stop making exceptions, bringing or using examples where it's only one person. No, there's no need of going to school and becoming educated. Casper didn't go to school and he's so educated. But you're using 1% out of so many millions of South Africans, or you're using few taxi owners, few business owners, few people who are successful, and yet we're talking big numbers. Let's stop saying, guys, what's the point of going to varsity? There's graduates who are unemployed. Have you looked at the stats? Yes, we do have a problem with unemployed graduates and other people who are not graduates who are unemployed in this country, in South Africa. But have you looked at the stats to say how many graduates are unemployed? But then that becomes an excuse. So I wanted to drive that point home, that do take care of your retirement. If you work for a company and the company provides retirement fund, provident fund as a benefit, take it upon yourself to get to understand. Attend the seminars, because most companies or firms or employers have a platform where they'll explain to you, when they'll tell you update your beneficiaries, where they'll tell you can now increase your contributions, there's now time to decrease your contributions. They even give you timelines. You can only do it between this period and this. Don't overlook those things, because guys, you blink and it's time for retirement. Hear it from me. I started working yesterday. I was 19. I blinked. And guys, I've worked more years than the years that are left for me to retire. So it just shows it comes so fast. Time is something else, guys. That clock, as it ticks, time waits for no man. So I encourage you to look into your retirement side of things as early as possible, and don't fiddle with your retirement, guys. We have different reasons for saving and for investing. Be conscious, be intentional. Don't use different ways of savings to care for other ways. You cannot possibly save to buy or to put down a deposit to buy a car and take that money and use it for a funeral cover or a funeral arrangement. Rather make sure you've got investment, or you've got a policy rather to take care of a funeral, you've got a policy to take care of education, you've got policy to take care of vacations, and all our dreams and plans, or your dreams and plans that you have. So I want to urge you, if you are contributing towards your retirement, let's say you are self-employed and you are aware, Gucci, no one will remind you. So you leave it up to you on a monthly basis. You put monies away on a weekly basis if your business is doing so well that now you draw an income. or profits weekly, and you put the money for your retirement. And guys, retirement fund is exactly that, retirement fund. Provident fund is exactly that, provident fund. Monies that will assist you when you retire. You know, your retirement annuity, it says, the word is clear, retirement. Not for holidays, not for renovation, not for a Gucci shoe. Put monies away for that. So, not for vacations, put monies away for that. But yeah, I was requested to touch on this new two ports retirement system and just clarify it. Guys, I want to start off by saying I am not a certified financial advisor. If you need any financial advice, please contact your certified financial planner or advisor who has a license. So I'm just giving tips, I'm just giving my understanding, and where I've fallen short, someone can add, someone can correct, because Nami, I read up, I researched, I could have misunderstood things, but it's imperative that you go to the right people for understanding. And I hope those who are working for employers, you've already touched base with your HR to get clarity about this two-port retirement system. And you're not leaving it out because you're only 25. So what's this hoo-ha about retirement two-port system? You're not bothered. Guys, look after your hard-earned money. You work hard for it. Know where your money is going. Know how your fund is impacted. What are the returns in that fund? Don't just wake up at 55, at 60 when you retire and you realize that you've been contributing for the past 30 years and your fund only has enough to buy you bread, because inflation will show you flames. So let's kickstart. So we know that with any law, angithi siyazi nangale ye H in NH oh guys, let me leave that one. With any law, why do I forget this NHA? What's the medical one? Yama hospitals, never one. Nevertheless, guys, with any law, there's steps that takes place. There will be a bill that needs to be passed in parliament. There'll be a public comment. So it takes years for the law to be passed. NHI, thanks, sweetie. Thanks, Lucia. Oh, you came to my rescue. I'm like, why am I forgetting this? Just like with NHI, we don't wake up in the morning and the law has been passed. Everyone is going to private hospitals, even if you have no medical aid, even if you've never worked, you've never contributed to any medical scheme. Same applied to this retirement reforms. There've been changes, amendments over the years. So the same thing happened where I guess it came from the public, it came from the employees who were putting pressure. Uguti, why must I only gain access to my retirement fund when I resign, when I'm retrenched, or I'm dismissed, or when I retire? Can I have access to my monies when I really need it? And guys, we know a number of people are drowning in debt, and people would like to take their monies and cover those debts or pay off those debts or put some certain amount there and then be able to breathe a bit. Sadly, some do that and they start again. You know, those who lack discipline. But we know people who drowned in debt and they got the right information from the right people who guided them, and they never went back to debt again. So after that pressure again, that's where the government had to sit and decide, good, you know what, let's look into passing a bill where people can gain access to their retirement fund, to their provident fund, to their annuities. But I want to talk about retirement funds and provident fund because I'm not comfortable with how it will work with retirement annuities. So it's been going on. Finally, this law has been passed. 31st of August 2024, which is in 2 weeks' time, I guess, guys, because today is the 17th. Say 17th? Yeah, I think it's the 17th. Yes. What you've contributed. So basically, the two-port system, I'll try and clarify it. It's in fact three ports. What you've been contributing until the 31st of August 2024, and then these new two ports. The first port is the savings port, and the second port is the retirement port. Let's start with this first port that we currently have without the new ports that are coming into effect on the 1st of September 2024, those two ports. Currently, there's only one port. It will be called vested port, where all your monies are going. And it has its laws, it has its regulations. Some of the laws is that you can only gain access to this current port until the 31st of August 2024. When you retire, you can only gain access to this port when you resign. You can only gain access to the port when you are retrenched or dismissed. Same rules will apply, but that port will now be called vested port. Come the 1st of September, spring day, spring has sprung. There's new things that are springing and sprunging. Two ports will come through. So now we're sitting with three ports. Vested that we currently all have, and now let's talk about these two new ports. So this you couldn't touch, you still can't touch unless you resign, you are retrenched or dismissed, or you retire. So 1st of September, two ports will come into effect. So if you're going to get a job 1st of September 2024, when you'll only have these two ports. You won't have this if you've never worked before. Never worked. I'm talking fresh into a work life or workplace. You'll have a savings port and this retirement port. 1/3 of your contribution will go into the savings ports. 2/3 will go into your retirement ports. So now the government and the gurus have allowed people to gain access to their monies without resigning like it did on this port, without retiring first, without being dismissed or retrenched. So now the government decided, oh, people are crying. The other people end up resigning just to have access to their monies. Let's introduce these two ports. So this one, savings pot, will have 30% contribution of your pension towards your pension, and this will have 70%. So the savings pot, guys, you will have access to your pension monies every tax year. So once a year, you will gain access to your money. You won't have to wait to be booted out of a company or firm or to retire. Every year you will have access to your money. They say you can only have access for emergencies, not for vacations, emergencies, but they struggled to define what these emergencies are. As a result, it looks like it will be free for all. So now your 30% will go here and your 70% will go here. Let's forget about this one a bit. Let's talk about the savings. Okay, before we forget, if you've been contributing to this vested pot, you've been working for 4 years or 10 years or 2 years, and you've got money sitting in this pot, 10% of your whole contribution, retirement contribution, will be taken from your vested pot and placed into your savings pot. Understand that, guys? So let's use an example. If you've got 100,000 full contribution, your retirement in your provident fund or pension fund, remember now it will be called vested pot. They're gonna transfer 10%. What is 10% of 100,000? 10,000 into this pot. And then I'm trying to think. Yeah, 10,000 will be transferred into this pot, and then you'll have access to your 10,000. Yeah, the 100,000 that you had. So whatever balance you had here, the 10% is going to be taken. If it is a million, 100,000 will be placed in your savings pot. Then 1st of September, others say on the 2nd of September, but starting 1st of September, you'll be able to withdraw that 10% from the savings pot. But the minimum is 2,000 that you'll be able to withdraw. Maximum 30,000. So they're going to take from your old pension fund, which is now called vested pot, and that should have been done. I hope you filled in forms, because it won't happen automatically. I'm sure your HR has had workshops and seminars to explain. Guys, go to them if nothing happened, because we know some companies are just bad with communication and change management. So you should have your 10% sitting in your savings pot, which you can now be able to withdraw. 2,000 rands minimum, maximum 30,000. So you can see, if you don't have money here, that's why I say if you're fresh from varsity, you won't have money in your vested pot. So there will be no 10,000, or sorry, 10% that will be transferred into your savings pot, because you don't have this vested pot. You don't have this old retirement that is now gonna be like paid up, if we can call it that way they could take the 10% and transfer it into your savings pot, for you to have one of these two pots, for you to have access to that minimum 2,000, maximum 30,000. Guys, you are not forced to transfer monies from your invested pot, which is your current pension fund, into this savings to be able to withdraw. You can just breathe in and out and let life continues, and take what's in your savings if you were disciplined before, and continue paying your debts how you've planned. You've put a plan together on how you're planning to pay them off. But guys, we are all different. Our situations are different. If you know your ID is sitting illegally with Mashonisa, and now you have access to your retirement money, you need to make a decision. I will discourage you. I always say, don't eat tomorrow's food today, because the paupers will dance. You can choose to live like a queen today and live like a pauper tomorrow. You can choose to live like a poor soul today, because you are investing monies for tomorrow. But if you want to take minimum 2,000, maximum 30,000 rands, but you won't be able to take what you don't have. What will be transferred, that 10% will come here. If your 10% here doesn't even cover the minimum of 2,000 rands, sorry guys, you won't be able to withdraw the money. It's as simple as that. It needs to be enough for you to have 2,000 to withdraw up to 30,000. But remember, 1st of September, they'll put the transfer of 10%, and your monthly contributions, the pension, will be now divided into these two pots. So this will be closed out. Once the 10% is transferred here, we forget about this pot, this vested pot for now. We forget. We're now focusing on these two: savings pot and retirement pot. Here you'll have your 30%. Here you'll have your 70%. So if your monthly contribution, your pension, is from the 1st of September, I had an example here, is 1,000 rands. We know, guys, everyone contributes differently towards their pension, depending on companies, depending on your income. But let's use 1,000 rands as an example. 300 rands, which is your 1/3, will go towards your retirement pot, towards your savings pot. And then 2/3, which will be 700 rands, will go towards your retirement. So every year, you'll be able to take minimum every tax year. There's a difference. Tax year, you'll be able to take your retirement, your savings money, minimum 2,000, maximum 30,000. But this money, you will never be able to touch. Are you with me, guys? So you'll only be able to touch the 300, which will be contributing towards, and the remainder of the 10% that would come from your vested pot to your savings pot. But this amount, 70% contribution from your towards your or from your pay slip, from your income towards this called retirement pot, because it's two pots. When we leave out the old one, you won't touch. So now you are still forced. Yeah, I understand. Hostage, that's still. You will have access up to 30,000, but we still don't want you to be poor and be a recipient a fund on retirement. Hence, the 2/3 won't be touched until you reach your retirement age, which we know is 60 in South Africa, both males and female. Let's debunk the myth that males can retire at 65, females at 60. We all retire at 60. However, you are allowed to take an early retirement and gain access to your funds, which is 55 years. So if you are 55 years, you can go on early retirement. But the required retirement age, or a legal retirement age, if that's the right word to use in South Africa, is 60 years, both females and males. So you are with me, you won't touch your 70% contribution, but every year you'll be able to touch your 30%. Minimum 2,000, maximum 30,000. So you can take from 2, take 5,000, 2027, you take 28,000. But guys, there's a catch. These monies here, your savings pot, whenever you withdraw, you'll be taxed at a marginal rate. Tax rate. What is a marginal tax rate? It's the rate that you are currently paying. You pay as you earn. So it depends on what your package is, what your gross is, what we all get a different income. So other people are taxed at 80% marginal rate. The more you earn, the more you get taxed. We are clear with that. Others, it's 26. Others, it's 31. Others, and as you get a promotion, you get an increase, it pushes you to the next tax bracket. So when you withdraw the minimum 2,000, guys, you're not going to get 2,000 rands into your bank account from your savings pots, where the 10% will be transferred from the vested pot to wait for you, or you will give instruction if you want to chow your money nicely on an annual tax year basis. You will take the 2,000, but 2,000 is not going to hit your account. It will be 2,000 less your marginal tax rates. So if you, I think the maximum, the last time was 41, but I think someone said 45%. I want to search it now. If your tax is sitting with 45, you can just imagine go to 2,000 will come into you, and there's fees to also process this withdrawal. There's a fee, I think it's 200 rands if I'm not wrong, or 250, around there. So it will be the tax plus those fees. If you've been working for a very long time and your savings pot, the 10% is going to be a lucrative amount. Just remember, if they transfer your 10% and your 10% is 300,000, you won't withdraw 300,000. This tax year, you will get maximum 30, which will be taxed at your marginal rates, and they will also charge you for service fee for doing that application, for getting your money to move from your No, from your savings pot into your account, you'll be charged, but it's around 200, 250 around there. So even if you've got 600,000 from the 10%, because there's people who've worked for years, so their 10% could be a lucrative amount. If you've got 6 million that you've contributed already towards your pension, it means your 10% is 600,000. You won't gain access to 600,000. Minimum 2,000 for everyone. Doesn't matter how long you've been working for that company. And there's no such thing as you're only going to have access if you've worked for 2 years or 10. Everyone will have these two pots, and your 10% will be transferred here. But if your 10% doesn't meet the minimum required to start withdrawing, obviously you can't withdraw. You will wait for your monthly contributions, 1/3, 2/3, until they reach that minimum, got 2,000, to be able to exercise your rights to withdraw from your savings pot. Is someone not clear? And guys, I just want to make sure, remember guys, it takes, I want to start off by saying, and I hope the government doesn't kill me. We know government spending when they build the roads, which have so much potholes, but let's not get into politics. Let's talk about real stuff. The government needs our money, the taxpayers, to be able to sustain and grow the economy and take care of any country for that matter. So the government doesn't have money. We, the taxpayers, are the ones that supports the government. So if you just sit and digest it and think about it, that tax is going to do a lot of things for the government. Already, remember, you are being taxed at a marginal rate every month, every week, every quarter. Whenever you get paid, you pay your taxes from your salary, from your income. Now you're going to be taxed again, darling, when you do a withdrawal from that pot, savings. If you take 2,000 rand, remember, it will be taxed at your marginal rate. You know what your rates is. And if you are earning a fortune or higher position, you must looking at over 40%. It will be taken and used for government spending. So when I get, just giving your heart end, but I'll be happy if the tax monies were, yes, there's areas where the tax money is doing what it needs to be done, but there's a lot that is still lacking because we are in Africa. If it was going into upgrading the hospitals, I would say those who are guys, patriotics, and they love South Africa, get taxed twice. When you get your income every month or weekly, and again, when you're going to touch your monies that is sitting on that savings pot. Because now it means you'll be taxed twice. And guys, can I tell you something? There's no running away from taxes. That's inevitable. We know taxes are certain. They like death. You cannot dodge a bullet. But there's ways to reduce your tax, how much you pay towards a tax. Lapho you need a tax consultant, a guru who went to school to assist you. Especially when you have businesses, you've got medical aids, and guys, you don't need to be rich to ensure that you don't pay as much tax as other people who lacks knowledge. We've got the tax-free accounts. Use those. You can invest in them up to 500,000. Imagine at retirement, you've got 500,000 that is tax-free. Use all the avenues. But now, if you're going to take this money from this savings pot, because maybe you need it, maybe you've been owing school fees, maybe they've kicked out a child from school because it is for emergencies. But guys, you can have an emergency fund. You can contribute towards an emergency fund. Yes, nothing happens overnight. You need to be disciplined. You need to sacrifice. Isn't it? You need to sacrifice the show off no Instagram photos when you don't even live that life to build up your pot, your emergency. However, We all are different. Ma, we are adults. Who are you to tell us about our monies? Hamba kuyodla lo retirement lo savings pot. But no, ukuthi the money that was is going to be taxed. This money pot yakho is going to be taxed. And I'm trying to think, are your contributions taxed? No. So you're not gonna be taxed twice, but it is going to be taxed. Your retirement and pension fund contributions are not taxed. They'll be taxed when you retire. So you're not gonna, because they're not taking you're not putting your take home income into this pot. It's your full retirement 10% that goes here. So you won't be taxed twice. Ngicela ukuntshela-ke ukuthi where the catch is. Catch number one, you'll be taxed when you take your minimum 2,000, maximum 30,000. I hope we are clear there. And you can take it every tax year. But you'll never, guys, I'm sure we are clear, never be able to touch their retirement pot ega 2/3. No, that you'll touch at 60 or 55 early retirement. Only the savings pot you'll be able to touch if need be. If you don't have to, ngicela uyiyeke izokusiza when you retire. I want to share with you, let's see, how much. I know someone said 550,000. I just want to make sure it's correct. Nothing, Sissy, they don't know as well. How? Vero, no, Sissy, it can't be like that, Siswami. So get maybe your financial planner to I man, Sis Vero, EMT, no rights. They can't do that to us. Because come 1st of September, and it's tomorrow, you know? And how much can you take tax free? I know it's take tax free on retirement. And I want to tell you, Guti, how is this thing gonna mess you up, this withdrawal? Obviously, you'll be giving your monies to government, and we pray, Guti, they build the schools and whatever every time you withdraw, and it doesn't go to someone's back pockets. Because if they do something with my tax money, I don't mind. My problem starts when it goes and builds someone's farm and it doesn't contribute where it's supposed to. Then I have a problem. Because amandla, farm yomunye umuntu, a personal individual that I don't even know. When me and myself and I can't even build a farm for my kids, free from pension. I wanted to say in South Africa. Okay, guys. From the 1st of March 2023, why they don't talk about 1st of March 2024? What happened to e-budget this year? Maybe I'm looking at the latest stats. But guys, we all know when you retire, you can take up to 550,000 tax-free on retirement. But if you've already, let's talk about someone who's worked for 5 companies. You worked for company A, you resigned, you took your monies, and you were taxed, and you marginal rates at the time. You went to work for company B, you resigned, maybe you preserved the funds because you can put away those funds still for retirement, and it's called preservation. You don't have to cash every time you leave a job. You don't have to cash your pension or your provident fund. Then you went here, you also took your monies, you were taxed. Then, guys, you are taxed from R1. So when you basically penalized yourself from this money that you get on retirement or during retirement, the 2/3, I think it's 2/3, up to 550,000, that is tax-free. And the remainder of your money, you need to buy a living annuity, the money that pension ekbhatala on every month. But let's say you like your mom, who's been changing jobs, but has never touched her retirement money. And I pray to God, no emergency will lead me to that. When I get to my retirement, whether at age 55 or 60, I'll be able to take 2/3. I hope I'm saying it correct. I think it's 2/3. But maximum 550,000, over 500,000 tax free. When oloku udike lapha guys, awusatholi leyo mali. Instead your tax has shoot so high ukuthi when you get to the retirement age, when you check how much you'll be taxed at what will be left from what you've been taking from the vested pots, what you were taking over the years from that savings pot, it will be far less because now you've pushed your tax to something else and you no longer qualify for the 550K tax free. And guys, again, there's so much that can be said regarding tax but do not resign and gain access to your tax because you eating or to your pension, you eating tomorrow's money today, and you're just messing up with your tax. So guys, if you sit and calculate how much tax you would have paid over the years every time you withdraw every time you withdrew, whenever you resigned or you were retrenched, or let's not talk retirement, dismissed, you'll be shocked. You'll find Gucci 3 years, 4 years, 5 years that you worked from Jan to December went towards your tax. Go to your certified financial advisor. Ask them for numbers. Don't sit there and say it's only 18% tax. What is 18%? What is your hourly rates? What's your annual package? You'll find when you add those amounts, when for the past 3 years you were working for e-government, you were working for Mr. Taxman, you were working for USARS. Guys, don't mess up with your tax money. Don't play. Where they say you pay tax, seek for clarity. Read up. Ask questions. How much of my money is taken? If your hourly rate is 500 rands, look at your pay slip. Do you even know how much you earn per hour? Some people are they ignorant. They don't even care about that. Guys, you need to know. So that when someone comes and take your 60,000 rands, you calculate it, guys. You get the numbers. You're like, hold on. So it means, Mina, for the past 4 months, I was working for this tax money. Can I leave this savings pot? Can I leave my vested pot and go and see where I can cut? I'll cut my weekends away. I'll cut maybe buying books if it's taking a lot of money and going to websites where you can download books and save money. But there's just something about reading books like this. I don't want to digress. But here, guys, cut out and have surplus money to save for whatever you want to do, for those emergencies that will lead you to take from your pension. I will personally discourage you, but we are all different. We all have different situations. Impilo isingise differently, guys. Isidonorile, isibambe ngamawashing financially, and if you think the 2,000 from that savings pot or the 30,000 from the savings pot, when it's now less tax and service fees, will change your life and you'll never go back and start again, because people with store cards, I'm paying it off. Before you know, he's gone now, opened a different store cards. 2 years later, he's back to square one. It's all about, it's a matter of discipline more than anything else. If you lack that, we can give you all our salaries. You'll still struggle. You'll still be drowning in debt. You'll still be trapped. But that's what I want to share with you. And I wanted to also talk about e-tax, which you can't like run away from e-tax, but you can avoid it. But you can't do tax evasion where you crook the books, because it will catch up with you and it's gonna cost you and you can end up in jail. There's clear legal or laws about how much you'll be penalized and what's the death sentence. Rather be dead than paying about tax cases. But how much, sorry guys, will be your penalties, and there's interest that they add. That's why once back bam SARS, guys, oh my word, you are screwed. And sorry to use that word, because it's interest on, oh, painful. But you pay tax when you working, you pay tax when you buy a house, you pay tax when you buy food, the VAT, you pay tax when you die, you pay tax when you retire. Guys, there's tax for everything, but it's different brackets. When you retire, the tax is not as high as your current marginal tax or your income tax. Go read the different taxes that you pay. And I guess that will also make you think twice, which I rather pay that lesser tax when I retire than dipping into my pension fund, which will be called vested fund, on the 31st, and from the 31st of August 2024, and from the 1st of September 2024, we will now have two pots, your savings pots and your retirement pots. Kodwa-ke retirement, guys, we've covered that. You won't touch it. You won't have access. Basayibambile isithunya so ekhanda lakho ukuthi ngeke uzoba i-problem yethu. We're keeping that money for you. Even if you clean your savings pots, you won't be able to do a thing on your retirement pot. I hope this is clear, guys. If you don't understand this, bantu abami, angazi ke ukuthi ngiyonithini. Retirement pot, only on retirement, that's your 70% contribution. That is your 2/3 from 1 September. Savings pot, your 10% will be transferred, and I'm just summarizing, from your vested pot, which is your current contribution in your retirement fund, or your pension fund or provident fund rather, will be transferred 10%, and you'll have access if you want to. If you there's no need, please leave that money and leave it to just chill there, because you just blink and it's time to retire, and then you can withdraw minimum 2,000, maximum 30,000. Even if they transfer 700,000, you won't have access to that. Remember, it's taxed at your marginal tax rates. You know what your tax rate is, and you can only take it every tax year, so it means it's once a year. And yeah, there's fees to be paid as well, so you don't need to resign to gain access, guys, to the monies. Now you'll be able to go into your savings pot and take money if there's an emergency, because they struggle to define what emergency is. But I still encourage you to have your emergency fund outside your retirement a fund, or rather two-pot system plus the third pot, which will be vested and waiting for you after the 10% is transferred for you to actually retire, resign. So that vested pot, the current laws will still apply. So if you resign, you'll be able to have access to your vested pot. You can take it all. But retirement pot, if you resign, you won't touch it. The new two pot, the retirement portion, only the savings. You'll be able to transfer to retirement or take it with you. And I want to tell you, remember, when you resign, you can still get money out of your pension but once in your lifetime. And thanks for liking, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for commenting. I'm gonna read now before we close off. You can cash out. That was now before the new savings. You could, for those who didn't know, you could get 27,500 rands tax free. 27 did I say tax free? 27,500. Yeah, I think it was tax free. Why am I saying tax free? Okay, I think that needs to be clarified. I need to check, guys. But you could withdraw up to 27,500. But if you took 27,600, then it would, yeah, it was tax free. It was tax free. Guys, I stand to be corrected, but that 27,000, let me see. 27,500 with pension withdrawal. Let's make sure. Because at one stage I wanted to take that, but it's once off. But now, guys, you'll be able to take your monies anytime. You won't have to wait for resignation. And I realized, why do I need it What am I going to do with it? Let me just leave it. Make those decisions, think about it. Be honest with yourself. If you are a spender, you uzoloku withdraw from the savings pot forever. It won't solve your problems. Guys, sometimes we use wrong solutions to solve wrong problems. Use the right solution. You are a spender. Taking money from your pension is not going to solve your addiction. So get help, proper help, guys. 27,500 pension withdrawal when resigning. I know I'm not wording it correctly. Resigning South Africa. Only the first is, yeah, guys, I'm right. Only, you won't be able to see because of the sun. You can see that only the first 27,500 is tax-free. So you could still get money from your vested pot. It will be called vested pot soon. When you resigned or you were retrenched or dismissed, you didn't have to take the full amount. You could still get the 27,500 tax free. But if you took more than that, then the tax will start. Marginal rate, your marginal rate from R1. So that is now still going to apply, because remember the vested pot still has the old laws, but the new two pots will now have the new laws, where the retirement pot, you won't get a cent, but the savings pot, every tax year, you'll be able to withdraw. Minimum 2,000, maximum 30,000. Taxed at your marginal rates until you retire. So when you can end up cleaning your money, especially if your 10% was a big lump sum from your vested pots into so you can end up taking your 30s until you reach age 55 or age 60. When you get there, you don't even qualify for the 550,000 tax-free that you get as a lump sum when you retire, because you've been chowing your monies. So your first rent will be taxed age 55 and age 60. Guys, do rewind, do replay, and just get some clarity. Read up, go to other people who will clarify better. Maybe Mina, I missed the point, but guys, I tried to explain it like I'm explaining it to this little soul that is interested in her retirement as a simran, And Usis Vero, so what do you suggest? Oh, Ndumo, I hope you are still here. Sis, now I'm looking, guys, at your comments. Okay, Sis Vero, nothing. Guys, please do approach your HR and ask them to assign someone to assist you and clarify. Some companies even have financial advisors, more especially if you're working for financial institutions or insurance companies. We had that as a benefit, where you have a dedicated financial advisor, ongaibuza. And guys, can I ask you something? If you don't have such, but you've got someone who went to school, just ask them, guys, take them for a cup of coffee. It won't cost you much. No? I know they'll be mad, which, am I worth a cup of coffee? I charge my clients so much for your advice, but they are your colleagues. So if in another department there's a certified financial advisor, ask them for coffee, put it in their diary, go get some clarity. I'm talking about companies that don't have dedicated HR person who can break this down, but I'm sure someone is there, guys. Just ask, go on Monday before the fest, and just get more clarity on what I've already shared, and make sure that you filled the forms, because it's not going to be automated. So if you really need to get the emergency fund from your savings pot, you're not going to wake up on the first and the money will be waiting. There's forms, or maybe some companies that are tech savvy or tech advanced, it will be done on a system, but it needs to be actioned. You won't wake up and your minimum two, because how are they going to know how much you want to withdraw? The minimum 2,000 or the 30,000. So what do you suggest? Is hi Peel. What do you suggest? Kushundumo. Mina Ndumo, I've always advocated Sisuguchi, you make a decision. You wanna eat cat food now, tin stuff now, or at retirement. There's people there who are wealthy. through hard work, through inheritance, through whatever it is. And they don't worry ngama sacrifice. Do I live like a poor soul now and be rich later? They don't worry about that. But look into your personal situation. Look into where you are in terms of age, in terms of your finances, how is life, and make a decision. But do know, taking from your own pension to pay for a vacation, to pay to paint a house, to pay for silly things, man, that bag that you've been eyeing, because you can. Yes, they say emergency, but people can just put any reason in there. I don't even think it will be audited because they struggled with how are they going to monitor this emergency side of things. You do what you do, but be prepared to deal with the consequences come retirement. And no one is going to die before retirement. And those people who always think they're going to die before retirement, boy, oh boy, they live till 90. And they give everyone, including their own kids, a heavy burden. Poor kids can no longer enjoy life, go on holidays, buy beautiful things for themselves, study further, improve their lifestyles. And because here's mommy and daddy who was reckless with money, thinking they'll be dead before retirement. Guys, there's no crystal ball to check when we're gonna die. So be well prepared. I rather praise and worship and go there and realize there's no heaven, or than be a nasty and evil soul that sins like crazy with no conscience, and I die and find Gucci there's heaven. Rather be prepared. If you've got the monies that you've been putting away and you die before retirement, or you are unalive before retirement, so what? You've got family, you've got kids, you've got a will for that. Where must your monies go? And now, if you have nothing and you live until 90, 100, who's going to take care of you? I can't even imagine. HR doesn't know, but we are having a meeting on the 27th, sis. I guess it's about that. Okay, sis. Okay, but that's too late. I wish they did it much earlier and had follow-up meetings for people to be able to absorb and digest and take in, because it is complex. It needs qualified, certified financial planners who have licenses. That's why I say I'm giving what I'm giving. Don't take my word. Go see your financial planner. Well, informing us, ma'am. Thank you so much. Pleasure, Veliswa. I'm sure it's clear, Veliswa. If you didn't get this one, my babes, book time. Let me draw pictures, and maybe that will help. Wow, this is so informative. I have a clear understanding now, especially with tax-free access. Yes, sis, you coveting yourself when you cash out now, because you won't have your 550,000 tax-free when you get to retirement. They're gonna tax your money from R1. Umuntu oyophuma no 550,000 lump sum ngeke ufane naye. When you be taxed and heavily, and you've been taxed over the years. So think about it, get the right person to guide and lead and tell you. And guys, if it's a dire situation, it's a cancer treatment situation for your loved one, guys, we can't sit here and say, no, don't touch your money. No, don't do this. If you know it will save a life and it ought to be done, then, guys, there's no negotiation. There aren't any negotiation that should take place. Some things are just too heavy for us to even say, no, then what happens when I retire? You need to act now. You need, whether you like it or not. So that's why I need to, if it's minor things, guys, put monies aside. Cancel the gym membership that you're not even going to gym. Just train in-house. Train around the block. But be safe when you do it, because we are in South Africa. Oh, the stories that I hear. And guys, I love outdoor training. And put that money towards your emergency fund. Put that money towards your holidays. Put that money towards that red bottom shoe. We all want fancy life, but we really, guys, iba umama, iba intombazana ehluzile emqondweni. Be someone who's intelligent about your decision. Pray about your decisions. Ask God for guidance. Ask God for wisdom. Don't just do things that will leave you in a mud tomorrow. It breaks my heart when some people make the worst decisions ever, guys. I know we are not experts. We don't know much about money affairs, but some people, their whole life, they make the worst. Not by cast. Pray about it. You touched an important aspect of retirement, which is leaving annuity. I heard of it with life annuity, not sure which is the best. Okay, sis, we'll touch on that in a separate live. Let's just focus on the two ports or retirement system, or rather three ports: vested, savings ports, and vested ports, savings ports, and retirement ports. Then we'll talk about a living or annuity some other time and just shed some clarity. Hey, mommy, you're so stunning and healthy, babes. Where have you been? I missed you. Thank you, Siqendubatho. Oh, my lost sheep has finally come home. Oh, Nkosi yami, niyalazi lelo vesi lokuthi uma nje imvu eyodwa isilahlekile, uyozishiya zonke overo laba, ushiye bonke oDlenda, and go look for that one sheep. Even if it's a Sunday ngeSabatha or Saturday ngeSabatha. Welcome home, darling. I love you so much and thanks for being here. I truly appreciate Sweetie Pie. I really don't want to share my pension with the government. Oh, I love that thinking. Tabi saying I would leave everything until 55. Love that, sweetie. And choose leaving annuity. Any advice on that? Okay, sis, let's talk about e-living annuity some other time. But I love your opening line. I refused Tabi saying, and as I see the years going by, I'm just praying that there's no life-changing incident that will come forth and make me have no choice but to dip into a pension fund or provident fund or retirement fund, because retirement is for retirement. Rather touch it at 55, sis, and you are allowed to touch it from age 56, 57, from age 55 onwards. Because like I said, if that tax that you pay when you touch your retirement money, and if you have to touch it, which I'm discouraging everyone, was going towards assisting, because now they're gonna take all these monies, your marginal taxes that they're gonna take from this savings pot, guys. They're gonna take that money and use it however. Izoya budget. And sadly, yes, we see some of the things like in South Africa, the infrastructure is amazing, but we're still frustrated with so many things and with so many people paying tax. And yes, we have a large number of people who are unemployed. Why not create jobs? And a chunk of government spending goes towards social services. You know, those SASA monies, people living with disabilities. That's where the kill is. They even wanted to start, I don't know if it was approved, where they give abantu who, those unemployed graduates, age 35 and instead of crippling people and making them disabled further and creating dependency. And that's why now people will force you to give them information, will force you to give them monies, will force you to give them a lift, because the government has created this culture of getting things for free. Why can't you create jobs to empower the youth, to empower even us middle-aged people, to put food on the table? If the tax money from my retirement went towards that, from my income even, I'm still complaining about my income, went and I saw exactly what it was doing. Yes, I see some of the things, but I'm not satisfied. Then it would be different. So I'll say in Tabi saying, don't touch it if you don't need to. If you are disciplined, carry on. When you get an increase, live your life like you did before the increase. Live way beyond your means. Guys, I did it at a very young age. I shocked myself, and I was shocked when I saw it was doable. I'll come and share what are some of the things that I did that got me the financial freedom that I have. I'm not saying I'll never go back to corporate, but how many South Africans are able to take a gap year and scratch it over months and still be able to live the life that I live? Very few, because I lived way below my means. There's things that people of my age did, and I had to sacrifice, and I wasn't faced to be able to put more money for the future. And that future is the life that I'm living now. It's my pension that I refuse to touch every time I retired. Thank God I was never retrenched or dismissed. It was always me saying, thank you for knowing, you guys. It is time for greener pastures. Some people say there's more manure on the other side of the world, but I needed to go elsewhere and learn and learn. And I'm grateful. But it comes with sacrifices. And I'll do a video. What are some of the things as your mother that I had to let go? I had to say, okay, I've gotten an increase. Instead of buying a bigger car, this is what I'm doing. Take it, use it, don't use it. Oksalayo mina, when I get to heaven, no, God will say, why didn't you share with Glenda, your child? Why didn't you share with Sikend? Why didn't you share with Nons? Why didn't you share with your sisters above Veronica? I've emptied myself for you guys. On Facebook, even on here on YouTube, I've told you. And guys, a lot of people will say, how did you do it? And I often think to myself, after telling them, will they even do what you've done? Will they even stand the heat that you had to stand? Will they even stand the tears that you faced while making these sacrifices, while trying out things, and some of the things failed, But I'll share with you. So the secret here is leave your pension, your retirement fund for retirement. From 55, you can have excess, guys, and get your 550,000 tax-free. Imagine that. Plus your other tax-free investment. So when you've scored on tax because you've used your brain. But if you're gonna dip into it all the time, come 55, come 60, guys, that money is not gonna be enough. What I always ask you, what's your package currently? What's your gross? What's your take home? And you're still complaining because we know things are expensive. That money is not going to be. It's not enough at the moment. How much more the monies that you're only contributing 7.5%, 10%, 12%? How are you gonna live off that if usadlane part of the 2%? So how can you live with from the 4% if you're busy chowing the 2% of the or 3% of the 7.5% that you're contributing towards your retirement? Guys, get your retirement statements before you withdraw or transfer this 10% and dip into the 2000. Can I urge you, get your retirement statement, see how much you've made thus far. You're gonna fall down, especially if you've been working for 10, 15, 20 years, because you're gonna look at that money and take your annual income and tell me what's the difference. How many years will you survive from that statement? Because currently your annual income is what? 800,000. Go ke uyodivida u-800,000 from your retirement money after you look at the statement and tell me how many years. You'll find because it's only 3 or 4 years. And yes, you won't have as many responsibilities during retirement as now, school fees and but medicals will be your biggest. And you also want to live a good life, travel. You also want to be healthy, so food will be quite expensive because you're now eating more veggies, which we should start now, and we'll talk about that some other time. Quick, Sissy, so what happened when I have, let's say, 1 million on my savings? Do I get tax when we draw all of it because I still have my retirement at 60? Yes, yes. What you can do, Vero, remember, savings, your max will always be 30K. 30,000 rands, even if your 1/3 ends up being 1 million one day, 30,000 annually tax year. You will never be able to withdraw more than that. However, what you can do is to take minimum 2 or max 30, not more than, isn't it? Go savings pot. Remember, that's the limit, that's the law, you can't change it. However, you can transfer the difference, the 970,000, if you've taken 30K into your retirement pot and you won't be able to touch it until retirement. So it's still restricting you what you'll be able to touch. And again, when I say it's complex because you will still have only the vested pot because you still work for that company, is the vested pot. Because vested pot, guys, remember, you can take it when you resign, when you retrench or dismissed, or when you retire. But savings pot, always remember and be clear. Even if your savings pot is sitting on 500,000, on 30 million, up to 30K annually. Unless next budget year they increase the 30K to maybe 32K, it will never get to a stage. I can't say never, but I don't see it getting to a stage where you can take the whole million. When you attend last is what happened when I, let's say, on the savings, you can transfer it to your retirement and take it at 60 when you resign, but you won't get more than 30. 30 is a cut, 20 is an entry. When I retire, not now. Or when you retire, it will be given to you, and apparently it will be, remember then that tax-free will kick in. Yeah, you will get it. You will get it at 60, and your 550 tax free will come into play. And remember, it can't be 550 from your vested pot for those who will have, okay, everyone will have vested pot unless you'll start your work. You've never worked in your life. It can't be 550K from your vested pot and then 550K from your savings pot. No. A retired South African at retirement, 55 or 60 or 57 or whatever, is allowed 550,000K tax-free. That's if you've never touched your pots, any of your pots. So you won't get 550 from vested pot, 550 from savings for pot, 550,000 from, it will be just that 550K, which is 2/3, and the balance you buy your living annuity. Leo vele fasteren in njengabo gogo pension uyolanda your monthly income. And also, that is also complex. You need your financial advisor, but we'll talk about that separately. I'll give tips on how to look into it because I've got 2 people already who've asked, and Untabi Singh and Usisvero Ugusi, what's the best way? And I would love to share what my godmother, my Jewish mom, did. She gambled with her pension, which I wouldn't even encourage anyone, but because she lived long, Nomienwake, who passed on a few years ago, she scored, guys. She scored. I don't think I have a stomach to do what she did, but I'll share that when we talk about buying, taking your 550,000 takes free lump sum, and then the other one you are by law required to buy a living annuity, and to say what are the other options when you get to retirement. So Bonsile, I love you, honey. I see the love. And guys, thank you for liking. Thank you for being here. And I want to urge someone who's still looking for a job, who's still looking into starting a business, let's start with someone who's looking for a job. Please do ask and find out what the benefits are. I know when we're looking for a job, sometimes we don't even ask such things. You don't need to ask during the interview. Research that company. And if they do offer a retirement fund or retirement package or retirement something, you are allowed to contribute and save for your future. Take advantage of that. If you are still young, contribute even more. Don't limit yourself or we minimum contribution, which normally it's like 5% or 7.5. Go as far as 10%, 15%, 20%. I know they say government, they kill you with the contribution. That's why the pressure was coming more from the government officials, because their retirement pot is dodla, and they are currently struggling. They're eating the catfish that we're talking about now. They'll have the chunk later, or yeah, and sometimes it's when they pass on, then the spouses gets far much more money, like you ordinary than an ordinary person. So make sure you contribute more, because you're gonna need this money more when you are much older. Remember, you find good house circle strong, you can't hustle anymore, you can't look for extra jobs. So take care of your retirement than you would take care of self right now. And if you've got a business, you're planning to start a business, you're still putting things together, you're still registering your company. Once you start making money, guys, it doesn't matter how much. Get an RA, retirement annuity, contribute towards a retirement annuity. Yes, there's lots of noise that the returns are not that great in some of the funds. Don't go for just anything. Do your proper research. And if retirement annuity doesn't suit you, look for an investment class that will be solely dedicated towards your retirement, and contribute, guys, every month, every week if you can. Every time you get profits from your business, put that monies away. You can't be a well-known businesswoman or businessman that's doing so great today, that is rich and driving a fleet of cars. Come retirement, the business is not doing as great as it used to. Those in business know, okay? And now you've got no retirement fund to keep you going. And remember, you find that you can no longer run the business because you were actively involved. And now there's no more energy. Maybe you are unwell. Maybe you just don't feel like it, because it's not always the health that stands on our way. Our emotional beings and psychological being can also, tab and to come into play in a way that doesn't sit us well, the way that distracts us from getting the same results that we're currently getting, because we are excellent in terms of wellness. So thank you, guys, and thanks for joining. I hope all was clear. May you have a blessed Saturday, what's left of it, obviously, because then the sun is saying goodbye. And think before you make any retirement decisions, but they ought to be made. And if you don't leave this money, leave it. You won't go to jail, you won't lose your job, just leave it and stay blessed. And if you need it, think of the implications later in your life. And I love you guys, and be honest. If the situations are dire, there's nothing you can do. Think, get the proper advice, and take it from there. And remember, I am not a certified financial advisor. I'm your mom that's giving tips, that's giving her understanding. You can also provide your views here on the comment section. Love you, darlings, and God bless.